Hello YouTube! I'm back with another build guide. This time, I'm trying out dual-wielding Cospri's Malice Elementalist. It all started out as a meme, but it ended up being a really fun end-of-the-league character. You know me, I like crunchy crits, and this build really gets my juices flowing. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this build as it's pretty expensive and not the best, but my viewers really wanted a video guide, so here it goes. Cospri's Malice, it allows us to trigger a socketed cult spell on the melee critical strike. So here I'm going with Ice Nova for the AoE and Glacial Cascade for the deeps, and we trigger all those spells with Cyclone. The character feels really good for mapping and delving, as you freeze everything and blow up the entire screen, but ultimately you lack the damage to properly kill tier 16 bosses and other bad boys of this caliber. As you can see, those explosions are really satisfying and we're overall pretty fast and tanky thanks to a combination of various defenses that I will cover later in the video. Onto my gear setup and gem setup. So first, of course, we're gonna need two Cospri's Malice. The first one with Ice Nova, Hypothermia and increased AoE, and the second one with Glacial Cascade, Cold Pen and Hypothermia. Here I'm using a rare helmet crafted with a pristine and frigid fossil for a lot of life, and also the nearby enemies have -9 to cold res, where I socket Blood Rage, faster attacks, Warning Blade and Fortify. Here the Ancient doesn't really matter, I decided to go with Cyclone attack speed for just overall comfort of mapping, so it feels a bit smoother. Body armor, I decided to go with a low weave that gives a lot of damage and also defenses if you have your maximum res are 80%. With the current links: Cyclone, additional accuracy support, Poacher's Mark, power charge on crit, increased critical strikes, and curse on hit setup. So here, we don't really use this 6 link to do damage, but more as a utility setup. Here, with this setup, we generate power charges, we curse with Poacher's Mark that gives a lot of life on hit and mana on hit, but also boosts our accuracy because enemies have 49% less evasion. It's a pretty big deal, and also some flash charges. It's a lot of comfort in maps. First ring, we're using a Essence Worm with Hatred socketed in, and second ring, you can use whatever here: damage, res, accuracy, whatever floats your boat here. Boots, life, res, move speed, the classic. Here I socket Cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, my Golem, and also haste. For Vol Haste, I don't use haste as an aura, I just use Vol Haste for mapping. It makes everything faster. You can also swap to a Vol Grace for deep delving when you're in an outpost and you really want to dodge and really not really die at all. Gloves, I really like Shadows and Dust here in this setup because it gives crit multi, it gives crit chance, also Rampage. Now when I'm mapping, I'm using Headhunter, so Rampage is very valuable in terms of clear speed and it just feels right. So what do I socket in there? Mana Leech, Herald of Thunder, Onslaught, and Herald of Ice. Okay, so this is kind of a weird thing, Mana Leech, because sometimes you will be running hexproof maps and you will run out of mana because we don't have any other source of Mana Leech here. Onslaught, so it frees up a flask, and also like a jewel mod. And Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice for clearing. Belt, I like to go with a Headhunter, but not everyone can afford it. Here you're looking at like life, elemental damage, cold damage, res, attributes, whatever you want. I like to use a Stygian Vice so you have access to one more jewel like this. That gives a lot of damage. Now, I think that's about it. Onto the flasks, I like going with the Bubbling of Staunching, it's pretty cool. It's instant and removes bleeding. Taste of Hate, it's a big defensive boost. And damage as well for Glacial Cascade. Basalt with Curse removal of warding. I like Basalt because we don't really have any physical mitigation, so that helps a lot when it comes to hard content and not dying. Diamond Flask, of course, of heat, so we're never frozen. And of course the Speedy Boy Alchemist Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline. And I think that's about it. No, jewels. For jewels, I like using 2 Long Winters. Here I have two corrupted, so I cannot be inflicted with corrupted blood and also increased effect of non-damaging elements, so you freeze harder. I like it a lot. And then you can go with some Hypnotic Eye Jewel, life, whatever, life, damage, everything helps here. They're not that good. And also, so that's a big part, the Watcher's Eye. I have a Hatred Crit Watcher's Eye. It's a big deal. I'm not gonna lie, it's expensive, but it's a massive deal. It helps the build all across the board. It helps you crit with Cyclone, helps you crit with your spells. It's a lot of damage, and I love this jewel, but it's expensive. On to my skill tree choices, Ascendancy, Bandits, and Pantheons. So here it goes. So first, Bandits. As in most crit build, I decided to help Alira because it gives some crit multi, all res, and also mana regen. As for the skill tree, it currently looks like this, and I'll be posting links in the description so you guys can follow it. Finally, the Ascendancy. Beacon of Ruin first, then Pendulum of Destruction, and finally Paragon of Calamity. I like this one a lot because it gives us some leech, helps with recovery, but also some elemental damage mitigation, some extra damage, and also cannot take reflected elemental damage, which is a pretty big deal when it comes to mapping. You have a lot of freedom here, and we can run any reflect map because physical damage is not a problem at all. As for Pantheons, in most of those builds that are pretty squishy and also evasion based, I really recommend going with Soul of Lunaris, fully upgraded if you can. It gives us some more than needed physical mitigation, as well as Soul of Gruthkul, same thing, physical damage mitigation. And this is the end of this video. Thank you so much everyone for watching. If you'd like to see how this build does in a live situation, you can drop me a follow at www.twitch.tv/SOMAYD or sub to my YouTube channel for some more content like this. Have a great day.